last show, which broke my heart, a young man who had to be in his early 20s, and he has candida. And candida is something that's just, you can just research it to death. They have to change their dietary habits almost entirely for candida. And then to find out if it really is candida, which is just, candida has so many symptoms that they're constantly misdiagnosing it, and you never know what it is, because it could cause anything from headaches to fatigue to, just millions of skin problems and liver problems and constipation problems. I mean, it's all from, a great deal of this from abuse of antibiotics. But it's just a real bad cycle. But he called me, I was researching it, and he called me 2 days later on my cell phone, and he said, I just don't forget me. Please don't forget me. He's had candida for years. So I sent him a tea, and I worked real hard on it, and he's called me a couple of times, and he's staying with it and saying if it'll help. But there's a lot of things that, you can't, he has to change the lifestyle for that. So. But I will research anything that you're not sure you want to know. If I don't know it, I will look until I find something and get back to you. And that's, basically, I think that's what's worked for me, is just answering people. Because nobody does, if you have a question, your doctors don't answer your questions, and there's so much information about every little thing that it's nice to have somebody to kind of compile or put together for you. And basically, that's what I do. Anybody have any questions? Yeah.
Have you researched the caffeine content in
There's no caffeine in any of this. Not in this.
In this one.
In this one. Yeah, your green teas have caffeine in them, and some of your black teas. So green tea has caffeine. But if anybody saw the article in yesterday's paper about the power drinks for kids, did anybody read that article yesterday? Where some of them have up to 350 milligrams of caffeine in them? Okay. 350 milligrams of caffeine in them. And they don't understand why it's just blackouts.
Oh, I know.
Now the thing is, to my knowledge, they were not allowed to sell this on campus. My son, they took all that off the campus. You're not allowed to do that. I'm not even Coke or anything, so I don't know whether the kids brought it on campus, the kids that they hospitalized for it. I don't know whether they brought it on campus or not. But my son used to love to drink those things, and when I'd catch him, we would just trash. Look at him and say, basically, you're just sucking down cocaine, because that's really all it is. You're just liquid speed. I don't care. That much caffeine is just liquid speed. And there are some things like green tea is your absolute best antioxidant. It also is for cholesterol problems. It's one of your better things. So if there is caffeine in any of the products, it would be on the label. I put what's in my tea. I put it on the front label, and whether it has caffeine or it doesn't have caffeine, there's a place for it. If you drink 2 or 3 cups of green tea a day, it is supposed to change your life. Okay, and it does have caffeine, but I don't think it compares anywhere. It doesn't come anywhere close to what a lot of the products have. And I'd rather have so much caffeine than the amount of sugar. Okay. What's not in this tea that I usually put in, but I'm totally out of it, is stevia, which everybody is the miracle herb of stevia that everybody loves. I keep waiting to find somebody right that causes something that I'm not aware of. But so far, it's a harmless herb that it's a leaf that just tastes like sugar. And I put it in my cholesterol teas and my high blood pressure teas because they taste so bad. It helps a little bit with the flavor. And it doesn't have any calories or anything. And as far as they know, so far there have been no problems with it. There are no contradictions with it whatsoever. And that helps with taste a little bit. I brought some powdered stevia tonight if anybody wants to try it. I usually bring the herb because people are so fascinated by it. Most of you probably have already tried it. But this actually is ground stevia, but not the stuff that you buy in like Whole Foods, which is white. My friend back there gave me a phrase that I use now, which I just dearly love. We were at one of the shows and she was telling somebody, and I forget who told her that if you take a green plant and you make it into a white powder, it's a drug. And of course, if you use any common sense at all, you go into the store and you find a bottle of white powdered stevia, they had to do something to it to make it white, So this is just ground up stevia, which I have a little shaker bottle. So it helps to sweeten your tea. If you have some tea tonight and you want to try it, it's there. But if I have caffeine in a product, I will put it on the front. But the only teas that I make, if I do put any green tea at all in with caffeine, it will be on the front label to let you know for sure. But when you mix a tea, like for instance, some of the things, there are a couple of herbs when you read them, they seem to be kind of dangerous, but when you actually really study them, the fact of the matter is you're not sucking down that herb. You're mixing it with so many other things. There's so many things in there, and really, I have a couple of teas with twice this many things. What happens is you're getting a little bit of everything all the time, and never enough to hurt you. You're not putting tons of some kind of herb that could be so powerful that it would bother you. If you are, like for instance, the chamomile, it took my daughter probably a month of drinking. I have a tea I call the tea of tranquility. It took her about a month of drinking it before she started itching in the middle of the night. And when I realized it was the chamomile that was bothering her, because you're not getting pounds of chamomile in every cup of tea.
How you make the tea? Do you have to boil the water, or is there a special way?
Well, again, I was not a tea drinker, so I always just like put that thing on, fired it up, and let them bubble. And of course, when you start learning about tea, you're not supposed to boil water. Apparently, it's too hot, and it damages some of the properties of the herbs. You're supposed to get your water just to the steaming point, where right before it boils, and that's supposed to be hot enough. I also discovered a hot pot. I mean, it's amazing how dumb you are when you don't, you just don't do this. My son, I had my third kid going to college, and the only thing he was allowed to bring was a hot pot. I said, what the hell is a hot pot, And one of the kids had to tell me that it's this pot that boils water. And you can buy them at Walmart for $10, and you use this little pot, and you plug it in, and it brings the water to boiling in like 30 seconds. I mean, it's so hot that it brings the water to the boiling point. So I can drink tea all day long without waiting for it to boil, which, you're like, if you're like me, with my job, I don't have time. I just don't have time. So, I discovered two things. That I can turn that thing on and the water is up to boiling within 30 seconds or so. But you're not supposed to boil the water. And I also sell something called Tea-Go, which is it's a to-go tea strainer, because I don't use bag tea. I learned that from Miguel, and I did some more studying on it, and they're really the bags. You just never know what's on the chemicals are on the bags.